A lot of people will tell you that losing weight is simple and easy. Let me be the first person to tell you that those people are lying. As somebody who went from 250 pounds all the way down to 170, I can promise you that this shit was not easy at all. So if you watch this full guide, you'll truly understand how to go about losing weight. And then also at the end of this video, I'm going to be doing a Q&A where I asked a bunch of my Instagram followers questions that they had about fat loss, and I'll be answering them. So maybe if I didn't cover something in this video, it'll be at the end of the video. Being in a calorie deficit for an extended period of time will make you lose weight. And that's why people tell you it's so simple, because it's a very simple concept. However, the thing that's not easy is actually staying in that for the extended period of time. Being in a calorie deficit, yeah, it's simple, it's easy to understand, but having to do it for an extended period of time, that's where a lot of people quit. That's where a lot of people believe that they're not meant to lose weight. And that's where a lot of people struggle to deal with everything that comes along with losing weight. Staying in a consistent calorie deficit for an extended period of time is incredibly difficult for most people. It took me literally a whole year to finish my weight loss journey because I didn't understand these concepts, because nobody else on YouTube was ever talking about this. Nobody on YouTube ever spoke about the in-depth details that could actually happen when you're trying to lose weight. Everyone just like chalked it up to, oh yeah, just be in a calorie deficit, bro. Just be in a calorie deficit. Just eat less, bro. And then that's where a lot of people get fooled, because if you tell somebody to eat less and then they eat less and they don't lose weight, they're going to end up giving up. So if you've actually been struggling to lose weight your whole life, as long as you follow this guide step by step, I promise you, you will finally start losing weight. Now, the first thing I want you to know is what is a calorie, all right? And a calorie is just a unit of energy. Essentially, it just measures how much energy food will provide you. And a calorie deficit is when you eat less calories than your body naturally burns. Now, all of us have a basic metabolic rate, and this just means how many calories your body burns when you're just at rest. And then what we do day by day is when we eat food, all we're doing is giving our body the calories that it's burned back, right? So if you're eating at maintenance, then all you're doing is whatever calories you naturally burn throughout the day, you're just replacing it, right? So this way you don't gain or lose weight. When you eat in a surplus, this is when you're giving your body more calories than what it needs, so then it ends up storing it as fat. And then when you eat in a deficit, that's when you give your body less energy than what it needs, and that way it loses weight. And you might be sitting there and thinking, yeah, that's pretty simple, right? The reason why most people don't stick to it is because, for one, it's hard, right? Staying in that calorie deficit is actually quite difficult. Two is it can get a little bit complicated. So that's why a lot of people, like, for example, hire a coach, so that way they can just turn off their brain, do whatever the coach says, and then they will lose weight. And then number three is setbacks, right? Because like I told you before, losing weight is very difficult. So imagine you've been struggling to like lose weight for like a month or a week, right? And then you finally lose, like, for example, 2 pounds, right? And then you end up having a binge meal or a cheat day or some shit like that, and then you went up by 4 pounds. That means that all the effort that you just put in is all gone. And that is very, very discouraging for so many people. So what ends up happening is, you know, okay, that happens once, I'll get back on that horse. They do it again, and then they repeat that same loop where they have a cheat meal, they have some shit, and then guess what happens? They give up because like they just think they can't do it because it's too difficult. I'm going to be teaching you ways to manage these types of things. Now, the first thing you have to do is identify your starting point, all right? If you're fat, as in you look something like this guide is for you. If you're skinny fat and you look something like this, then do not watch this guide is for you. I highly recommend you go ahead and check out that guide, especially if you're skinny fat, because if you try to lose weight while being skinny fat, you're just going to end up looking not as attractive, to be honest. It's not going to be worth the pain and like whatever the fuck you're going to go through in order to lose that weight. You're not going to get the results you think you're going to get. In order to look good, lean, you need to have a solid muscular base. Without it, you're just going to look a little wonky. Now, if you've been going to the gym for a while and you put on a little bit of weight, let's say you bulked a little bit too hard, or let's just say you kind of casually went to the gym, you've built up a good amount of muscle, and now you finally want to lose the weight, then this guide is also for you. So there are different levels to getting into this deficit, all right? And the way you can find out how many calories you need to be consuming is by going to this website right here, entering in your stats, and it will literally tell you how many calories you have to eat in order to lose weight. And every single time you lose 10 pounds, that's when you want to switch and then do it again, so that way it can give you a more updated calorie count. That's another thing that a lot of people get messed up. They'll like do some research, see how many calories they have to eat, and then they'll consistently eat at that. But what happens is once you lose enough weight, that the amount of calories that it would have taken for you to lose weight is no longer valuable. Like, you need to eat less calories in order to lose more weight. But a lot of people just stay here because they don't realize that they have to constantly update it every time they lose 5 to 10 pounds. But there are 3 options that you can follow, and I'm just going to give you the pros and cons to each one. And then from there, you can make your own choice. The first one and the most safest one is losing half a pound per week. Now, with this one, it's a lot more safer. You know, you still have more energy throughout the day. It's like you barely notice it, especially if you switch your diet from like junk food to like whole foods, you'll barely notice it. You know, you'll still be able to feel good in the gym. You'll have a lot of energy. Everything is going smoothly. The only downside to it is the fact that it is slow, right? So it can be discouraging, because if you've been in this diet for like 2 months or so and you've only lost around like 4 pounds, you're kind of going to be a little bit discouraged. But it is definitely the safest and healthiest option. For this one, I would honestly recommend people who are like already relatively lean, or people who don't have that much fat to lose. Because if you have like a lot of fat to lose, then trying to like do this like very cute small method is honestly, it's just gonna be very slow, very demotivating, very time consuming. And for those, I would recommend the other options. Next is losing 1 pound per week. Now this is sort of like the perfect average, right? You lose just enough weight to where you consistently see results, but also you still have energy, you still have, you know, nothing really bad goes on when you do this one. It's very safe, very neutral, and it's the one that I honestly recommend for most people who are just starting out losing weight, because it's less complicated, less restrictions, and like I said, it's literally the perfect balance. It's both easy, but it also gives you the results you want. Next is losing 2 pounds per week. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, every single time that I've lost weight, this is the one that I've personally done, irregardless of whatever the health consequences might be, irregardless of what energy levels or anything like that I might feel. I have always stuck to this. Now, the reason why I like it is because it's sort of like a get out option, right? Like you just suffer real quick and then you get out real quick. So whereas like, for example, the 1 pound per week, you'd have to go 4 weeks to lose 4 pounds. For this one, you'd only have to go 2. So as you can see, it's a lot faster and a lot more efficient. The only thing with this one is that it can be bad for your health in some cases. You know, if you're not properly consuming the right amount of nutrition, if you're not consuming the right amount of fats, if you're not managing your diet properly, it can be bad for you. Another thing is low energy. That can happen to some people. For me, I didn't really experience it. Like my energy wasn't as high as it used to be, but I wasn't like dying like fucking what other people tell you, where it's like, oh, I was so dead during this cut. It's like, no, I was managing everything. I was literally working 80 hours a week while following this diet. So it's not as bad as people will make you think it is. The biggest thing that does happen though is that training starts to suck. You know, getting a pump in the gym is very difficult. Every workout feels really grueling. It's no longer fun, especially the deeper you get into it. In the beginning, for all these deficits, you won't really notice that much of a physical change. It's when you've been in it for an extended period of time, that's when like low-key you start noticing like the costs on your body. And that's why like a lot of people, they struggle with it, because at first it's easy, but then when it gets difficult, that's when you need the discipline, that's when you need the willpower, that's when you need the mental strength. And a lot of people just don't have that, because if you're coming from a fat background, then I hate to generalize, but that means that you've been undisciplined with your diet for the majority of your life. So it's gonna be very difficult for you to like go past this barrier and keep going forward. However, people who are truly motivated will be able to do it anyways. And then another downside for this one is you might lose a bit of muscle, and you might lose, like you will lose strength. For all of these cuts, you will lose strength, but you know, the easier it is, the less strength you'll lose. The harder it is, the more strength you'll lose. What I will say though is, and this was a theory that I was testing, there is something called muscle memory, which essentially just means that despite how much muscle you might lose, getting back your muscle will be twice as fast, 3 times as fast. So you can not work out for quite a while, but then the second you go back to the gym and you start training hard, you start putting your nutrition on point, within like you'll grow back your old muscle very, very quickly. And then the way I ended up testing this theory was actually on accident. Now, towards the end of my cut, what ended up happening was work and life they started piling onto me too much, right? So I was working around 80 hours a week. And on top of that, I also had to run my own business, right? At the time, I believe I had like around 20 coaching clients. So I was like grinding, you know what I mean? Like trying to make it out the hood. So I was grinding my ass off, trying to like help my clients and also trying to manage YouTube, and then also having 80 hours a week on my normal job, right? So to be honest with you guys, I stopped working out as much. And the only way to preserve muscle while in a deficit is by eating high protein and working out consistently. If you're not doing either, there's a big chance that you're gonna lose a lot of muscle. However, at that time, I could not, right? Like I had to sacrifice something in order to gain something else. So I couldn't like go to the gym right after work because I had to edit videos, and I couldn't go to the gym after work because I had to help clients. And then I ended up going to the gym like once a week or something like that. And to be honest with you guys, I did end up losing quite a bit of muscle. Now, any normal person would have saw the muscle loss and would have gotten super anxious. They would have been like, fuck, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Right? What I did was I remained calm. Like I told you guys earlier, something called muscle memory. So I kept believing in that. Even though I've never seen the results myself, I kept believing that is a real thing. Now, the clip that I'm about to show you, you might think that, I'm gonna be honest, I low-key was surprised by the amount of results I made. Genuinely, like I was surprised off of this video. I remember I literally sent it to Hassan and I was like, bro, what the fuck? Look at this clip. And he was also like, bro, what the fuck? This clip is 100% natural. And by the way, just a disclaimer for you guys, I have never done anything. I've never been on any peptides. I've never been on any steroids. I'm telling you guys right now, everything that I do has been 100% natural. Now, this clip will show you exactly how powerful muscle memory is.
And then when I finally go on the bulk, it'll look crazy. This is after literally just 1 week.
And because of muscle memory, I wasn't worried about losing muscle on the cut because I knew I could always get it back right away. So now that you know the 3 different ways to go about the deficit, how do you keep track of it? There's an app called MyFitnessPal. That's the one I use personally. I'm not sponsored. It's literally just the one that I personally use. Funny enough, this one other app tried to reach out to me and they were like, hey, could we sponsor you? And I was low-key like, see, I could make a bag, right? But I love you guys too much to like sell out for a sponsorship. Even this one hair company, they reached out to me, but I don't fucking use their products. So I would literally be lying to you guys if I told you guys, oh yeah, buy these products, I use these products, when I actually don't. So I will never be a sellout for money. That's why I have my own coaching business, because I never want to be ran by other companies. Side note, we got lost a little bit, but go on MyFitnessPal and then just go through the quick setup tutorial and then do this, what I'm showing you guys exactly right here. You're essentially going to want to change your goal calorie to the exact amount of calories that the calorie calculator gave you. And then from there, every single day, you are going to be eating at those calories up until you lose 10 pounds, right? And be sure you're tracking your weight consistently as well. When you lose 10 pounds, you're going to go back to that calorie calculator and then you're going to go and check your stats again. And then from there, you're going to enter in your new calories onto your MyFitnessPal and then you're going to repeat yourself in a loop. I get the question a lot, how much cardio should I do? What cardio is needed? To be honest with you guys, I just didn't have the time to do cardio back in the day. I had no time to do cardio, so I just wasn't going to do any cardio. And a lot of people do suggest cardio. Me personally, for the way I see it, is like it's a do it or don't, because measuring how many calories you burn with cardio is kind of inefficient. So unless if you're doing cardio for the sake of doing cardio and then you're still eating the exact same amount of calories, but you're just doing extra cardio without being like, oh, well, I burnt 600 calories in cardio today, so I can have a 600 calorie extra thing, that won't work. Always keep your calories consistent. For me personally, I believe in restricting food more than I believe in like burning more energy. And this is for a lot of reasons. 2 of the main ones is, for one, cardio takes a while, right? It's very draining on your body, especially if you've been cutting for a while. That fucking cardio session that you do for like an hour is low-key gonna make you hungrier for later. It's gonna make you want more food. And then like how many calories can you burn in an hour? Let's say at best, like maybe like 500 or 600. That's really nothing in the grand scheme of things. Whereas, you know, you could have just used your willpower to not eat. Instead, you decided to get hungrier by burning more calories. And then another reason why is because honestly, it just makes training suck. Because like, let's say you have an intense workout session and then you go do cardio, or like, you know, you have cardio next, or you go do cardio earlier in the day and then now you have to go to training session. It just compromises it, either one. I'd rather have an intense training session than have fucking cardio, right? So always prioritize your training. Always be training very, very hard on a deficit as well. And the amount of sets and reps you should be doing, like how does your training switch when you're on a deficit, is it's very simple, honestly. Focus on intensity over volume, right? So for example, where let's say on your normal training split, you were doing something like two to 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps, right? When you're on your deficit, like deep into your deficit, while you're still fresh in the deficit, you can still follow your normal training plan. But when you're deeper into your deficit and you start feeling like the energy crashes and like you start feeling yourself being more tired, what I recommend you do is, instead of doing like 2 to 3 sets, do 1 set, right? And this 1 set, just train as hard as fuck, like take it all the way to failure within 8 to 12 reps. In reality, all you need in order to maintain your muscle is a stimulus, right? Just tell your body like, hey, we still need this shit, right? Don't fucking consume that, just eat the fat. And then, you know, when you add a little bit more volume, that's when you start building more muscle. So as you can see from my explanation earlier, even though it's a simple concept, there's still a lot of steps to go with it, right? And this isn't even like the tip of the iceberg either. Like, we still have a couple more things to discuss. Next, we're gonna talk about the mental aspects of losing weight. Now listen, a lot of you guys might have rolled your eyes and like, oh, he's gonna talk about some woo-hoo ha-ha. No, I'm telling you guys right now that this is genuinely the most important part of the guide. If honestly, it's the most important part of life in general, without understanding these principles, you're gonna struggle for the rest of your life. However, when it comes to losing weight, especially, this is genuinely the most important factor. Now, the biggest thing that a lot of people struggle with when it comes to like the mental battles is, at first, it's easy. Being in a calorie deficit at first is easy, right? It's not really difficult. You don't have to use any willpower. You just have to eat a little bit less. Sometimes you don't even have to eat less. Sometimes you can literally just switch up your recipes and then you could be eating way more food for less calories, right? All you have to do is like stay away from like the junk foods that are essentially like high or super high in calories, and then, you know, go for like cleaner foods. Simple, right? The issue is when it's been 4 months and you haven't had a single like burger from McDonald's and you really love McDonald's. That's when people start to like collapse a little bit. And then, like I said earlier, you know, you collapse, you end up binging, and then you go back, and then you just get trapped in this vicious cycle. And then honestly, this used to happen to me. My first time trying to lose weight, I went from this to this. Now, you might be sitting there and be like, oh, you lost quite a bit of weight. That wasn't my goal. My goal was to get abs at that time. And what I decided to do was I decided to cope. It got so hard for me, like mentally, at the point where I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna bulk again because I need to add on more muscle anyways. I'm not gonna like do what my goal is because I have to add on more muscle. I gotta go back to bulking. And then when I would go back to bulking, I would see that I gained a little bit of weight, and then I would get anxious, and then I'd be like, fuck, I gotta go back on the cut. Why did I stop the cut? I wish I would have just stayed with the cut. My goal was to get abs, and then every single time it got hard, I quit. I don't want that for you guys. I want to tell you guys exactly how you can push past that. Another thing that gets it really hard is the trauma, right? A lot of people don't talk, nobody actually talks about this. Losing weight and your relationship to food has a lot to do with trauma. Because for example, I'll give you my own example. When I was younger, right, and then my parents would beat me or something, the way that they would ask for forgiveness in a way is they would offer me food. They'd be like, oh, Walid, stop crying, we'll go get McDonald's. Hey, Walid, stop crying, we'll go get pizza. Walid, stop crying. Or like, I'd be like sitting in the room crying because like I just got my ass beat. And then they would be like, here you go, this ice cream, or here you go, this snack, right? They would never like straight up say, oh, sorry, or some shit like that. And this led to me feeling a sense of security from food, because the way that my brain started developing was like, okay, if things are going bad, as long as I have some food, I'll be all right. That's why when my mother died, I got super fucking fat. That's where like you see all the transformation videos, because I stopped going on my lean bulk and I just started relying on food, telling myself that, oh yeah, I'm dirty bulking, now I'm gonna get big as fuck. In reality, I was coping with the situation using food. And that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people cope with their stress using food. A lot of people cope with the feeling of loneliness, feeling of, you know, feeling like not enough, any type of self-esteem issues. A lot of people will cope with food. That's why like a lot of fat people are usually like super stressed out individuals, because honestly, the only way they know how to like relieve themselves of stress is by fucking eating, right? And then who can blame them? The food industry has been like so monetized at this point where it's like they like in the lab, they are developing ways to make you addicted to these types of foods. So if you already have a weird relationship with food due to your childhood trauma, plus the hyper addictive food that nowadays is like being presented anywhere, obviously you're gonna get fat. And that's why I'll always have sympathy for people who are overweight, because I used to be like one of those douchebags too back in the day who were like, oh, why are people fat? Like, just go in a calorie deficit, just lose weight. It's so simple. It's not, right? Like, you kind of have to be in somebody's shoes to understand their situation, which is why from now on, like, I just don't judge people, right? I believe that everyone's going through their own thing, and all I can do is honestly help you guys. And then another big thing, and I've talked about this previously a little bit, is when you slip up, right? Now, when you slip up, what happens is you'll have been dieting consistently for a while, right? And maybe it was even hard as fuck, right? And then because you're dieting for so long and because you're being so consistent, what ends up happening is you're draining your willpower, right? And not only are you draining your willpower, you're also draining your mental energy, your ability to say no. It's constantly being drained. So, and this used to happen to me a lot, when you end up running into something like, let's say for example, your favorite snack, or your mother makes your favorite food, or you're walking past a restaurant and you can like smell how good the chicken smells. When that happens to you, what usually happens to a lot of people is they cave. And the way we cave is actually very malicious. Our brain will slowly try to trick us. It'll be like, well, we've been so good on this diet, let's just get one bite. Let's just get like a very small portion. Let's just order a small, right? You go there, you order it, and the second you taste that shit, the second those like the fucking taste hits your tongue, bro, that's when you cave in. That's when like your fucking dopamine receptors go, and then it sort of feels like you're in heaven for that second. And because you were so uncomfortable during this cut for such a long period of time, you're just going crazy on the food, right? That small that you were gonna order turned out being like ordering takeout, turned out ordering snacks, ice cream, this and that, this and that, this and that. And then you end up binge eating, right? And then from binge eating, you've lost months of progress. I've lost 3 months of progress, genuinely. So that is something that can happen. And I struggled with binge eating so much. And if you want to know how to beat it, there's actually a video guide right here that I made that goes in depth about how to actually go over that. But right now I'm just giving you guys an example. Like, I would literally remember times where I would be crying because I had genuinely been suffering, right? Like, because keep in mind, I didn't know what I'm about to teach you right now. I had genuinely been suffering, like thugging it out, trying my best to stay consistent on my fucking diet. And then what would happen is I would binge and then lose all of my progress. So that is so incredibly demotivating that honestly, like, it just sucks. The only reason why I was able to personally push past that, and the only reason why I didn't give up on the cut, was because I made a promise to 2 people in my life that I was going to get abs no matter what. And it's actually funny because I remember they would literally see me struggling, right? And they'd be like, bro, I think you should low-key like stop, right? Like, I think it's gone on too long. I think you've been cutting for too long. And then I would just be like, no, like, I'm going to push past this no matter what. Like, genuinely, I'm telling you guys the truth. At this time, I didn't even care about my health anymore because I told myself that I was going to achieve abs. So I made sure that every single thing that I did was to achieve abs. I didn't give a shit about my health anymore. Didn't give a shit about my diet. Didn't give a shit about my sleep. I just wanted to be a man of my word. And I wanted to make sure that I can see my own goals through. Because what kind of man are you if you can't even keep a promise to yourself? How do you expect others to trust you if you can't even trust yourself to hold your own word? And that's what was going through my mind the whole time. How could I tell any of my friends to trust me with something if I can't even be trusted to complete my own dream? So I was thugging it out, genuinely. Like, I was going through it. Like, it was miserable for me, but only because I didn't know what I'm about to teach you guys now. And I'm low-key like edging it a little bit. I'm gonna tell you guys in the next fucking couple minutes, but it's like, once I learned this shit, genuinely, all of the struggles went away. Like, I no longer struggled with having to hold my urges in. I no longer had to struggle with like the food thoughts. I no longer had to like my brain was always scattered. I finally found the cure that made fat loss easy. And another thing, there are ways that I could have gone about this that would have made it a little bit smarter. And I'm just gonna tell you guys just in case you guys wanna know. If I was trying to be smarter, right? What I would have done is, when I was in the deficit and it got too difficult, or, I was actually starting to see real signs of like my health going down, what I should have done was, okay, shit is going bad. Let me go on a maintenance phase. And a maintenance phase is essentially where you just take like a break from cutting for a little bit, for like maybe a month or so. Just refill your glycogen stores, refill your energy stores, allow your mental health to relax, and essentially just gives you, it's like a diet break, right? And then go back at it stronger. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've always been hard-headed. I've always been like the type of guy who goes extreme for my own goals. If you guys know my one video, the how bad do you want it, you guys know that I'm an extreme type of person. So I either have like an all-out obsession or nothing at all for something. And that's how it was with this cut, where it's like, no, I'm not gonna sit back and slow down. And genuinely going on that maintenance phase would have helped me so much, but I just couldn't do it. I mentally could not allow myself to feel like I was taking a break. So I kept pushing through. And like I said, once again, I don't recommend this. I'm personally just hard-headed. And I want you guys to learn from my mistakes, all right? So when I tell you guys to do something a certain way, don't do what I did just because it worked for me. Do it the way I'm telling you because I've learned from my mistakes, okay? Now, how do we actually get past these mental barriers? And how do we actually, succeed when it comes to cutting? There are 3 main things that you must do, and they're really simple, but I need you guys to genuinely take them into like the utmost respect when it comes to what you're doing in your cut. Like, I need you to genuinely follow this. Number 1, meditation. Number 2, gratitude journaling. And number 3, goal setting. Without those 3, you will struggle so much, and eventually you'll end up giving up. And then even if you don't give up, you'll be like 5 months deep into your cut with barely any results, and then you'll remember what I said, and then you'll try it just for the sake of trying it, and then it'll work, and then you'll be like, damn, I should have listened to Walid. I would have saved months of progress. So meditation, very simply, I'm gonna go over it. Sit down somewhere. You could be sitting down in a chair. You could be sitting down crisscross applesauce. You could be doing whatever. Download this app called Medito, right? It's the one that I personally use. I literally have, I think, like 140-day streak right now. So I've been using it for a while consistently. From there, go to the daily meditation thing and just click it. and it'll play somebody, right? The voice that I pick is Will, whatever. You can choose whichever one you like, and then simply just sit there, close your eyes, and meditate. Now, the issue that a lot of people get wrong with meditation is they think, okay, in order for me to meditate, my mind has to be clear, my mind has to be so perfect, like Zen, right? No. What meditation is bringing back your mind to the present moment. So you're not essentially like focusing on your other thoughts. Because what happens when we're dieting? We get food thoughts, right? Ideas to go eat, ideas to go crave something, ideas to go munch something, ideas to like go grab that chocolate bar that's in the fridge that your mom got, right? We get so many different ideas. What being in the present moment does is it allows us to not focus on these thoughts. We're able to acknowledge these thoughts are happening and able to like just let them pass by. Because here's what happens. Normal people will get a thought, right? The thought will come, and it'll hit them. And then they'll get pushed along with it because now they're investing in that thought. Oh, go get that chocolate bar. Go get the chocolate bar. No, I'm on my diet. Chocolate bar. Oh, maybe I should get a chocolate bar. Ooh, and then you go. What meditation allows us to do is go get a chocolate bar. Go get a chocolate bar. Go get a chocolate bar. Ooh, go get a chocolate bar. Go get a. Ooh. That's the simplest way I can explain meditation. So your goal is to simply just focus on bringing your attention back to the present moment. And as long as I've been meditating, I still get thoughts within my own meditation sessions. But the way you have to see it is every single time you bring your thought to the present moment, that is a repetition, right? The same way in the gym. When you do reps, you're getting stronger. But would you expect a beginner at the gym to be able to bench 405? No, you tell them to start with the bar. So start doing the 3 minutes a day consistently. Once you can do it for like 7 days in a row, just go to 5 minutes, right? And then stay consistent with that. Stay consistent. Every single time you're meditating, when you get a thought, right? You can acknowledge the thought. Like let's say for example, damn, you're low-key kind of chopped, bro. You can like acknowledge the thought. You can be like, I wonder why I got that thought, and then let it pass by. Somebody who has like bad mental health, for example, will get the thought, oh, you're kind of chopped, and then they'll be like, oh man, I low-key am. Damn, what do I do? Like they'll start getting anxious. That's actually how you beat anxiety as well as through meditation. I know how it sounds where like I'm literally telling you that meditation will cure all these big problems, but you just have to drop your ego and allow yourself to believe that something as simple as meditation does indeed work. A lot of the times we don't want to believe that something simple works because we want like an advanced solution to our advanced problems, when in reality, the simplest thing can actually beat the most advanced problems. And for that, I'm genuinely telling you that meditation is the key. Next is gratitude journaling, right? And it's super simple. Just every single day, write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And it can literally be anything, bro. You could be like, okay, I'm grateful for this chair that I'm sitting in. I'm grateful for the fact that I have a roof over my house. Like some people are homeless, bro. You can be like, okay, I'm grateful for the fact that, my TV works. I'm grateful for the fact that I have my pen. You can even go farther into it and be like, hey, I'm grateful for my father. I'm grateful for my mother. And then you can also go deeper into that. You can explain, like while journaling, why you're grateful for this. Now, to be honest with you guys, do this on pen and paper. I personally don't believe it'll have the same type of effect as if you do it on your phone. I think like sitting there and then writing it down on the pen and paper is low-key better. But no buts. Do it on pen and paper, bro. I'm telling you, the difference is like amazing. I remember when I was doing it on my phone, I barely felt anything. But when I actually had to sit down and write, and like I actually put an effort, I was able to think as I was writing, and I was able to think about more things that I was even more grateful for. And that truly helped me. Next is goal setting. All right. And that just means setting up goals that you want to achieve through this cut. And you have to set them early as well. And you have to stick to them no matter what. So if you say some shit like, okay, I'm going to get abs, do not quit until you get those abs. Or I'm going to lose 20 pounds or I'm going to lose 30 pounds. Do not quit until you lose that weight. Otherwise, you're fucked. And you need to have that vision, right? Because you need to have a goal that you're racing for. You need to have something that'll make the pain seem worth it. So many people, they just go into a diet or they do something in life and they have like no plan about it. They have no idea where they're going. They're just going wherever the wind takes them. But like, okay, the wind's gonna fucking take you away, dumbass. Like now you're fucked. So always make sure you have a goal that you've set and then always make sure that you're following that goal. What I used to do is I would literally write down every single thing that I wanted to achieve, and then I would always like have it plastered on my wall. I might show you guys some videos later if I remember. Like they're still on my wall to this day, like the stuff that I would write down regarding my goals. And this, I'm telling you, this is infinitely important, right? After you write down this video, get a journal and then follow those two steps, the gratitude journaling and then the goal setting. And then the meditation, do that as well. Now, if you want to know how to be consistent on meditation, very simple, just do it at the same time every day. What I used to do when I had a job is I would wake up and then I would go straight into meditation, no matter what, like right off the wake. I'm talking about like awake, meditate. Like I would set up the app and start meditating. And this way I was able to do it consistently for so long. And now I'm able to do it consistently for so long again. The next thing that a lot of people mess up is having too many restrictions on their diet. Like you'll see people following, like for example, like a keto diet, a vegetarian diet, an all meat diet, a carnivore diet, a carb diet. Like there's so many diets that you can follow. The way that I see it is every single diet is a tool, right? And just use it as that. If you feel like, you know, doing keto is going to help you lose weight and you feel like you can actually sustain it, try it. If not, don't do it. The meal plan that I was following was honestly just like 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight and then making sure that I eat 5 eggs a day. As long as I had those two and I stayed within my calories, I was good. Now, the best amount of protein to have per pound of body weight is 0.8 grams, right? However, when you're in a deficit, it's all right to want to consume a little bit more protein just to ensure that your muscle still gets preserved. And also it's more filling as well. So from there, like having those two rules, I would simply just eat whatever I wanted that fit like under those restrictions, I suppose. But it was nothing like too strict. Like if I was craving a bag of chips, I would have the bag of chips. And I wouldn't be like, oh no, I can't do it, I'm on a diet. No, I would understand that, hey, this bag of chips fits within my calories. I'm still gonna hit my protein and I still had my 5 eggs. So everything is all set. Now keep in mind, this is a generalized statement, right? There's gonna be some people in the comments who try to argue about like, oh, well, this and then that, and this is why this is better and this is why. Shut the fuck up. This is a generalized video. I don't know anyone's specific situation. This is just what has worked for me and this is what will work for the general population. So just follow a diet that you feel like you can follow. As long as it's enjoyable to you, as long as you're enjoying the foods that you're eating, and as long as you're staying within your calories, you will lose weight, okay? Another reason why you have to be meditating as well is like, for example, like how I said earlier, oh yeah, I can eat a bag of chips during my diet and that's fine. A lot of people, if they're in a diet and they eat that bag of chips, what'll happen is because that bag of chips was like so delicious in comparison to whatever the fuck else they were eating, they're gonna want more and they're gonna want more and they're gonna be thinking about chips more and they're gonna be thinking about chips more and then eventually they're gonna cave in, get a whole big ass bag of chips and fuck up their diet. That's why you need to be able to be in the present moment to where you can enjoy the bag of chips and then not think about getting any more. And then the foods that you should try to go for are whole foods. Obviously, you guys know I always promote this. Always go for whole foods. Now, of course, there are exceptions, limitations, and things that you have to do that might not align with the whole foods thing, right? Like, for example, with me, when I was like in my extreme deficit, I was eating like a fucking big ass bowl of Jello, right? Was it the healthiest thing ever? No, obviously not, but it helped keep me consistent on my diet. And my goal was to be on my diet, not necessarily my health. And even if it was my health, that big ass bowl of Jello, realistically, motherfucker, are you gonna die from eating a bowl of Jello? No, but this is the rule that I personally follow. 70% of your diet should be whole foods, and then the other 30% can be whatever the fuck you enjoy. This way, going to the gym, this way, like you're dieting, this way, like the way for your fucking fitness journey isn't like some weird, like, okay, I have to like, I can no longer enjoy food. I have to be eating chicken breast and broccoli for the rest of my life. No, 70% of your foods can be whole foods. Learn how to cook so you can actually make the whole foods taste better. 30% can be like whatever the fuck you want. Let's say, for example, the whole day you've had like 70% like actual good foods, right? Like you had breakfast, it was whole foods, it was nutrition, it was like everything was good. And then towards the end of the day, you just want to unwind with like a bag of chips or some shit. Go ahead. Don't feel like being on a diet is like this super ultra restrictive thing that you have to be following this like super strict boot camp style diet where like you can't enjoy your foods or anything like that. No, go ahead. Another thing that I quickly want to talk about as well is like, you guys know how you guys see those bodybuilders who cook meals and then like they have no seasonings. The reason why they have no seasonings, and a lot of people don't understand this genuinely. A lot of people sit there and be like, hey bro, seasonings have 0 calories. It's not about how many calories it is. It's about how the seasonings affect your brain and low-key how they affect your look. Because a lot of seasonings have a lot of sodium, which can cause water retention, which gives the bodybuilder an inaccurate representation of how much fat they actually have on them. Second is because, listen, if you're dieting, right? And I'm talking about like those old head bodybuilders, when they were dieting and they were like genuinely going through it in order to stick with their diet, right? Like they were getting like dick peel shredded. Bro, if the food that they were eating tasted good, they would want more food. So they would purposely make their food as bad as possible so that way they don't want any more food. But if they just did the meditation, they would be able to control themselves even when they had good foods, bro. The types of meals that I were eating was fucking delicious on this cup, bro. I'm telling you, like I was eating like buffalo chicken ranch, with like like broccoli and shit like that. My meals were good. I was enjoying my shit, right? But the only way I was able to enjoy it without like feeling the need to eat more, crave more, is by meditation. So I'm telling you guys, I'm trying to like drill this into you guys. Meditation. Very, very important, okay? And if you guys want like some of my old recipes that I used to follow when I was on my diet, I have it all in the Brotherhood, which is linked down below. Actually, as a matter of fact, I got this one text because of one of the recipes that I put up there. Another reason why a lot of people fail, right, is because there is just no support around them, right? Like maybe you've experienced this yourself where like you've tried to go on a diet and then people hit you with the, why are you going on a diet? You're already skinny. Or why are you going on a diet? You don't need to lose weight. Or, hey, I know you're on a diet, but come enjoy this beer with us. Come enjoy this with us. Come enjoy this with us, right? And then because you don't have any type of support systems, you end up crumbling. Because, for example, my will is very, very strong. It's very, very stable. So irregardless of what anybody might tell me, irregardless of whoever might try to sway me off my goals, it'll never, ever work because I know exactly who I am. But so for somebody who maybe doesn't have that type of will, if you've been dieting for, let's say, 2 months, been restricting your food, been not meditating, and then one of your friends offers to like go to McDonald's with you, low key, it just takes a little bit of pushing for them to eventually convince you to do it. So that's what I mean when I say you have no support groups, right? You have to find people who share the same common goal with you, or you just have to find nobody at all. And then if you do that, it's gonna be a very lonely journey. What I had was Hassan, and then what I've developed is the Brotherhood. Right, the Brotherhood is where like every single person helps every single one of us like stay consistent. We all do like daily check-ins. We all like hold each other accountable. We can all talk about like whatever struggles we're going through regarding our diet. So that way you never feel alone. And also everyone there is on the same path. Everyone there is trying to build the best physique possible. So nobody's gonna be there like discouraging you, right? Like you tell them, you're like, ah man, like, should I have this cheat meal? Like one of the boys in the Brotherhood would be like, no, bro, don't have it. You're trying to lose weight. Why would you purposely go out of your way to like go against your own goals? And you'll be like, ah, fuck yeah, you're low key, right? So the Brotherhood is a great support system as well, on top of all the knowledge that's included within all the other courses. But like I said, you get the support group, which is the group chat. And this is especially very difficult when it comes to like family, right? Because family is low key one of the one of your biggest ops when it comes to losing weight. Like you'll be trying to lose weight and they'll be like, oh no, you've gotten so skinny. You've gotten so skinny. Like you look sick. Come on, eat food, right? And then you're like, Pops, I'm trying to get the hose, bro. What the fuck are you doing? Like your mother tells you, oh, I made your favorite. And then like you low-key don't want to make her feel bad because she did spend like hours cooking the food. So like you go and like eat too much, right? Which is also why meditation is important, because you'll be able to like control the amount of portions you eat and then be like, oh, I'm full, right? So like I said, a lot of people don't have that support system that allows them to like stay up when they're trying to lose weight, and they eventually end up caving in. That's why unfortunately you see so many fat people, right? It is what it is. A lot of people are just not fully educated on how to actually get past it. A lot of people have been fed this lie of like, you got to stick on this diet, this water diet, water fast, this and that, this and that, this and that. Another thing that I will say is that intermittent fasting really helped me. So I would fast for the first 5 to 6 hours of the day, and then I would have my first meal. And what I would personally do is I would like break it with like a black coffee, or I would just have a very small meal, or I'd have a very voluminous meal that had low calories. So I do believe in intermittent fasting. I do think it's a very solid tool. So do with it however you will. But what I will say, keep in mind, trying to do a water fast or a 24-hour fast or a 72-hour fast, cut that shit out. Don't do that if your main goal is to lose weight consistently. It's just not worth it. The ROI is not there. Don't even bother. Now, really quickly, what I will mention is the types of cardio that you should be doing. Me personally, I love doing shadow boxing and I love jumping rope. Those are my personal favorite forms of cardio. When you're in a deficit, you can do like light jogging, walking on the treadmill, just things that are essentially like low impact. You don't want to be doing high intensity cardio. You don't want to be like fucking sprinting, right? Because like I said, drains too much energy, way too taxing on the body, especially if you've been in a deficit for an extended period of time. So just be careful with that. Another thing that I want you to know is if you truly want to see results, you must have hope. There's something that I believe in that I feel like has been lost within the most recent times, which is existential defiance, which essentially means rejecting your own fate or whatever role you think life might be giving you and making your own. So if you're watching this video and then you're already thinking stuff like, ah man, but I don't think it's in my genetics to lose weight. Ah man, but I have a slow metabolism. Ah man, but I have this. Ah man, I have that. Cut that shit out. Believe in yourself. Believe that you can achieve your goals. Believe that you can lose weight, and watch how your body follows. Your biggest opponent right now is literally just your mind. As long as you can conquer your mind, you will be able to achieve any type of goal. Now, for anybody who's older that's watching this video as well, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Obviously, it's gonna be a little bit harder. right? Like if you're in your 40s, 30s, you know, maybe even 50s, if you're anywhere up that age, like, yeah, no shit, it's going to be harder, but these are just the consequences of your own actions. Had you taken action when you were younger, you wouldn't be in this situation. So it's going to be harder, but it's your job to just, you know, thug it out, accept the fact that it's going to be a little bit harder, and just put in the work required to lose that weight. It is possible. I'm telling you guys right now, it is possible 100%, right? It just really depends on how much effort you are willing to put in order to achieve these goals. Now, thank you to everyone who sent me a question on the Q&A. If you guys want to be participating in the next one, be sure to follow my Instagram. Now, I'm not going to be answering all of these because some of these are a little bit redundant. So I'm going to be answering the ones that I think could benefit you guys the most. Bro, is there really no way to build muscle and lose fat at the same time? There is. If you're a beginner, you can lose fat and put on muscle at the same time. Or if you're more advanced or intermediate, if your programming is very solid and you understand how to properly structure your own training system, then yeah, it's possible. A lot of people actually don't know how recovery truly works, so they're a little bit confused on that and they end up not making the results they need to do. Low-key stupid to ask you, but should I work out on my period? I've had female clients who don't like working out on their period because they say it hurts or something. And then I've had female clients who just thug it out. So it really is just up to you. Some people say they don't even feel anything. So I guess that's just personal preference at that point. What is the thing that you would have said to your old self before you were trying to cut? I would have told him to get onto meditation ASAP. Can you make a video on your diet or a day in the life for what you eat in a day? Maybe. What dish or dishes would you include in your daily diet to lose fat? I really love tilapia. Tilapia is super low in calories. It's like 90 calories per fillet, and it's like 19 grams of protein as well. It's super easy to eat, and it's super delicious. But I lose muscle while losing fat if I skip high protein. Yeah. Loose skin avoiding tips. I have a more in-depth guide in the Brotherhood about that, but essentially what you want to do is you want to be dieting slowly while also building on muscle. This way, it doesn't look as bad. And the thing is, there's a lot of different factors. This is why I said it's in the Brotherhood, and like, a lot of the times the courses that are in the Brotherhood are just stuff that's like super in-depth and super nuanced that I don't feel like answering all the time. So it depends on so many things regarding loose skin, like your skin elasticity, your age, how much weight you even have in the first place. Like a lot of people asking me, why don't I have loose skin? But I just wasn't that fat. Like I didn't have loose skin hanging off my body when I was fat. It was more of like, I was like bulked, you know what I mean? Would I maintain strength training low intensity cardio plus small calorie deficit? Yeah. How do you manage to get 120 grams of protein a day? There's just ways to do it. Honestly, 120 grams of protein isn't even that difficult at all, to be honest. Do people treat you very differently now that you've lost the weight? 100%. Funny enough, I actually started blowing up on YouTube and on every other social media the moment I got more attractive and I lost weight. Even though I've been the same person since day one. Like you guys can go check out my older videos. I have not changed. Sure, I've learned a lot of different things and I carry myself a little bit more differently, but I'm still the same guy I always was. Another thing is you would not believe the type of stories that I have. Low-key, I can't share them on YouTube, but how many calories did you eat daily? I'm currently on a cut right now eating 1,800. Around the deepest part of my cut, I was eating like 1,700 or 1,600. Yeah, lost my boobs, but nipple region still puffy. Doc said I don't have gyno, I have fat. What do I do? Build a big chest, like muscular wise, and then lose fat again. Cutting as skinny fat, don't do it, it's not worth it. How do you know how much percentage of fat or muscle you have? I don't know. I just look at the mirror. And then if I like what I see, then I like what I see. I don't really believe in the whole like, I have 7% body fat or some shit like that. For someone who has a slow metabolism, it feels like I ain't doing shit. A lot of the times people who say they have a slow metabolism, it's low-key just an excuse. If you want to speed up your metabolism, just start working out more, start being more active, and your body will inherently start burning more calories in a resting phase. Another thing that I should mention is the reason why I want you guys to build muscle before you guys go on a deficit is because the more muscle that you have, the more your body burns, the higher your metabolic rate is. So if you have like a lot of muscle, naturally, just by resting, your body burns more calories. Whereas if you have no muscle, your body won't burn that many calories. Do you recommend intermittent fasting? Of course. For someone who's skinny fat, is it better to do a slight cut than bulk and cut or bulk and cut? I would say bulk first. What is a great substitute for normal bread for less calories? Of course, there's like low calorie breads. I think they're like called keto breads or some shit. When should I stop losing fat and start bulking? It's all dependent on what your own goals are. That's why I'm telling you guys need a coach. Like if you guys don't know, have somebody else tell you. What do you think about cheat days for metabolism and overall mental, like once a week? You won't need cheat meals if your mental health is good, and cheat days are honestly the worst thing ever. That's what can set you back months in progress. Cheat meals, I understand, but the way that I would do it personally is I would calculate it. So either I wouldn't have anything to eat all day and then I would have that cheat meal, or I would throughout the week, I would eat like 200 calories less, so that, like for example, on Friday, I would have a surplus like 600 calories, and that way I can actually, you know, lose the weight. Like consistently keep losing weight while enjoying that burger or some shit. Another thing that I should mention is the thing that I had to do in order to properly be able to like track my food is, one, buy a weight scale in order to track shit that doesn't have like accurate calories. Like for example, like chicken, right? When you buy chicken, usually on the calorie label thing, it'll be like fucking unknown serving size, right? So from there, you just weigh it and then you ask ChatGPT how many calories are in 200 grams of chicken, and it'll be pretty accurate. But make sure that the way you're weighing it is consistent. So always cook the food and then weigh it, and then make sure you tell ChatGPT like how many calories are in 100 grams of cooked chicken. Another thing is, though, be careful about how many oils and shit that you use. Always get like a spray olive oil thing. Of course, like it says 0 calories, but realistically, if you hold it for too long, it's gonna, like, the calories are gonna pile up. Legally, companies can say that something has 0 calories when it's like under 5. So you just have to be aware of that quickly, and then like put your shit on. And then another thing that I wouldn't do is, like, if I went to a restaurant, they didn't have like nutrition labels, I just wouldn't eat, because like you could be thinking, oh yeah, this like burgers usually only have like 600 calories, but then like they fucking cooked it in like butter. The fucking bread is also buttered, and then it just ends up being like 1,000 calories. So it's not worth the risk, at least not for me. How to lose fats with insulin resistance, and is weightlifting required or cardio is enough? So yeah, you can lose weight even if you have like insulin resistance. The thing is, like, fat loss still requires a calorie deficit. So focus on like protein, fiber, whole foods, and try to have like fewer refined carbs, and try to avoid like constant snacking, and then always try to have like a walk after a meal. Now, lifting weights is like obviously strongly recommended, right? Because that will improve your insulin sensitivity and also preserve more muscle. Now, cardio alone can work, but in my opinion, without muscle, people who get lean don't look as good as people with muscle. So why bother? So the best thing that I would recommend for you is like lift 2 to 3 times a week, and then try to like walk every day. And that's like the most sustainable combo. Do you think it's possible to genuinely not have food noise? I would say no, only because like thoughts are thoughts, right? And it's impossible to try to avoid a singular thought. I would say your reaction to the food noise is what can actually change. Aggressive cut or slow and steady, it depends on the person. Should you be doing ab and core exercises during the bulk? If you want to have like a stronger like set of abs, yeah. My personal ab routine was just the fact that I worked out for 3 years consistently, and because my abs were constantly stabilizing my body, you know, they built themselves essentially. So sort of like 3 years of working out is what built my abs, not necessarily direct ab work. I think I have gyno, so will it look bad if I get lean? Yeah. What I would suggest to avoid this though is build like a huge upper chest and build like a huge chest overall, and then just try to build so much muscle around the surrounding area to where it can kind of be like unnoticed, right? It'll, depending on the severity of it, it'll still look bad. What I honestly recommend is, like, if I had gyno, which I don't, but if I did, what I would recommend for you guys is like get surgery, like save up for it, get surgery. It's a huge insecurity, which I don't think is even worth dealing with. And I also know like the fat in the gyno thing, it has like a lot of estrogenic properties. So it low-key is like lowering your testosterone as well. If you did a calorie deficit and train, is there a chance I'll not lose weight? No. Yo, bro, I got the right amount of muscle at 15. Should I cut? I don't think you do. At 15, I doubt you have the right amount of muscle. Keep bulking. And honestly, you're too young to even be worried about that, because like I said earlier, cutting can affect some parts of your health, some part of your hormones. I honestly only recommend cutting after you finished growing, right? Or if you're already super fat. Like if you're starting off fat as fuck, then yeah, go on a cut. But if you're just skinny fat, or if you don't have that much fat, just keep bulking. Like bulking my way though. Don't follow like another YouTube video's guide to bulking. Follow my guide, because I know what the fuck I'm talking about. They'll try to like promote like dirty bulking, gain half a pound, this and that. No. Follow my building phase and you'll be good. Trying to get lean at a young age is low-key like nerfing yourself in the future. So prioritize on getting the most amount of growth that your genetics have to offer right now. And then when you become like 18, 19, 20, you can go ahead and cut. How do you stop the cycle of losing weight and then gaining it back again? Through having good mental health and developing a better relationship with your food. Mostly through having good mental health and consistent meditation though. Is it bad to lose too much weight in a short period of time, like more than 2 pounds a week? I would say if you're losing more than 2 pounds a week, then that's low-key kind of dangerous. 2 pounds a week is already kind of dangerous, so do with that what you will. I want to start calisthenics instead of weightlifting. Is that good? No. I mean, it depends on your goals. If you want to look as good as possible, no. The gym just has so many more benefits that calisthenics can't offer. But if it's for personal reasons, sure, go ahead, I don't care. How can I cut sugar? It's killing me. You cut sugar through eating sugar less. And what I mean by that is like, just try to have less sugar throughout the week. Don't try to like cut it off right away. Instead, slowly cut it off like as the weeks go by. So like the first week you might be having like, let's say for example, this is like a random metric. Like I have 10 sugars, right? Next week try to have 9 sugars. Next week try to have 8 sugars. And then slowly over time, you're minimizing the amount of sugar you're having until eventually it goes away. Then again, I personally never got the idea of like being scared of sugars. I don't give a shit about sugars. It's never something that I considered. It's never something that I even cared about. I'll enjoy sugars. So I don't know, maybe there's something specific due to you, but I don't like, I'm not the type of person who like cuts off sugars. I think this has sucralose actually though, or stevia. Yeah, whatever. What exercises do you do in a calorie deficit because you have less energy? And that's actually a good question. So like I mentioned earlier, always make sure you keep your intensity high, but when it comes to exercise selection, that's a little bit different. There are certain exercises that are more demanding of your body that can be replaced with other things, right? So for example, barbell rows, right, for the back, it's a good exercise. However, it causes a lot of fatigue overall, right? It demands a lot of muscles being used. So essentially you get more tired and it drains a lot of your energy for the rest of the workout. So instead, do like a chest supported row. You essentially just want to focus on like exercises that can target the muscle effectively without inducing that much fatigue. And that's actually, funny enough, somebody was talking in like one of my comment sections about how all you have to do to get in shape is like, oh yeah, just eat clean and train hard. It's like, no, there's so many nuances that come into training that a lot of people don't even see, because a lot of people just have a very surface level knowledge when it comes to fitness. And especially if somebody has like really good genetics, they only have a surface level understanding of how fitness actually works. I'm somebody who gets like hyper obsessed with this stuff. So I spent like years researching this shit, like in-depth learning as much as I could. So that's why I know what I'm talking about. How to lose only body fat, not muscle mass. There's no way to guarantee that, to be honest. There are ways you can minimize how much muscle you lose, like for example, eating high protein and training hard. And being in a less deficit as well. You once said that you don't need to do cardio to lose fat. Can you explain that? Yeah, as long as you're in a deficit, anything goes. So if that comes by restricting food, then just restrict the food. How long does it usually take for you to see progress? It's dependent on the individual. I can see your face structure changed. What do you do for nose and all? I don't like discussing shit like that on YouTube per se, because everyone is individualistic. So if I give somebody advice that I follow and it ends up fucking them, then I don't want to be blamed for that. That's why I only have that in the Brotherhood, along with a bunch of like, discretions and like things that like, hey, this is just information, do with it what you will. Does the body adapt to the deficit calories? Sorry, this guy didn't know how to type. Does the body adapt to the deficit calories after some time? Yeah. That's just when you lower it as well. Is it unhealthy to lose too much weight too quickly? Yeah. Somebody said it's irrelevant to the topic of the Q&A, but is 2 times failure better than 3 to 4 sets? Personally, that's what I've been sticking with recently, yeah. I feel like 2 sets really helps me go as intense as possible. And honestly, it's just my own personal preference. I feel like, especially if I train really hard during the first 2 sets, by the 3rd set, I'm low-key like, I just know more. But what I will say though is when I was a beginner, I was doing like 3 sets. And that's what helped me put on the most amount of muscle back then. 3 to 4 sets, honestly, back then. A lot of people forget how they used to train when they were younger. No, I was like doing 3 to 4 sets for like every single exercise. And that's what helped me put on muscle at the time. Knowing what I know now, I wouldn't go that route, but that's what I did back then, just so you guys understand. How come it's easier to lose belly fat and chest fat compared to love handles? I wouldn't say that it's easier. I would say that everyone is different. This is like the same shit that I was discussing earlier, where it's like everyone is their own case, right? So not everyone loses fat the same way. Some people have like really lean faces and they don't have to lose like, they can be like 20-30% body fat, but their faces look really lean. Some people have to get like super shredded for their face to look really lean. But people lose fat different ways, different places. I don't have that much money right now to follow a diet. Then get more money. Does eating fats from eggs and other sources accumulate fat in our body? I wouldn't say so. Best snacks or substitutions. Low calorie Jello. The Jello that I would eat with like 5 calories per cup and Honestly, that helped me out throughout my darkest days. And there was also, I would like cut up a cucumber into a bunch of little pieces and then put ranch seasoning on it. It tastes like chips, and low-key, I needed it, bro. If you're eating less than your calorie deficit, will it help lose weight faster? Yeah, but it's sort of like the ROI really isn't there. You're just maximizing your suffering for very minimal results. Not about fat loss, but can you make a video on mental health and loneliness / making friends? Maybe. Is bulking necessary? I don't want to be fat again, but I have little muscle. Bulking in the way that I recommend it in the bulking guide will help you do that. A lot of people think that bulking means getting fat. I don't know why, but if you follow my methods when it comes to, you know, bulking, you'll see the results you want to see. That's why I always say like the Walid Method, like just follow my method, bro, and you'll be set. As a growing 15-year-old teenager, cutting calories stunts growth. How do I lose fat while growing? You don't even focus on that unless you're fat as fuck. If you're fat as fuck, go ahead. But if you're just like skinny fat or like you're like a little bit heavy set, don't even bother. Tips for women, please. I would say that for both women and men, we should all try to be a little bit more loving. I've seen like a lot of content being spread around where it's like, oh yeah, we shouldn't feel bad for men, or like men are like, oh yeah, women are all whores. But in reality, I think the best way to go about this whole situation is just to view everyone as human, right? Like regardless of what you have down there, you are still human, you know? You're not some weird foreign creature just because, you know, you have a dick or you have a vagina. It's like we are all human, we're all individuals, we all go through our own personal experiences. To generalize every single person in a group just by saying, oh, that's just a man, or oh, that's just a woman, I think that's a very toxic way to look at things. And recently, like, this has been going around for men for a very long time, where it's like, oh yeah, women ain't shit. But like recently there's been another spread where it's like men ain't shit, right? But if you keep going about life thinking that a whole entire gender isn't shit, then anytime you meet somebody of that gender who is a genuine person, you're going to be entering the relationship or entering the conversation with a negative approach, right? You're going to be sitting there being like, oh yeah, men only want this one thing from me, or like women only want this one thing from me. And then in reality, based off your own preconceived notions of how you think this one gender is, it might cause the whole thing to go flopped, right? Because let's say they're actually a nice, genuine person, but they can sense that you low-key don't fuck with them. They're going to feel a little weird about that, and they might not want to talk to you anymore. So I think you should approach everyone with love. The way that I like to do it is generally just have no expectations for anyone, right? In this book that I'm reading right here, it talks about how the only reason why we get upset at people is because we expect them to act a certain way. And then when they don't act that certain way, we get upset, when in reality, it was never their job to act a certain way to please us. It was our job to not expect anything so that we don't get, you know, upset when they don't follow what we think is right. So, like I said, everyone is human, right? Not all women are whores. Not all men aren't shit. I think we should all just try to be a little bit more loving and understanding towards each other, and try to like move past this whole thing where like we're like hating each other. The way I like to see it as well is like men and women, we both have our strengths and we both have our negatives, right? And instead of like trying to clash, trying to compete about who's better, I think that if we work together to mend like our strengths together, I think that they perfectly complement one each other. And I think within this thing, it's sort of like we can make something beautiful instead of constantly trying to clash, trying to compete about, like I said, who's better. We can all just bond together. What's the best advice you can give to someone who doesn't have access to a gym? Do calisthenics, I would say, or get a job and then try to get a gym membership. Or low-key, if you're bold enough, just go speak to the owner of the gym, tell him that you don't have any money and if you can please work out. And then don't expect to do it for free either. Maybe just be like, hey, I'll help clean before I leave. Like I'll sweep the whole gym before I go home. Do what you gotta do. Hardest stage of fat loss? I would say it's when you've been cutting for a while. A lot of people think it's like when they're super lean, but I don't think so, because I'm relatively lean right now and I am on a deficit right now because of the palate expander, but I'm not feeling anything because of the whole mental health thing. Whereas if I would have been cutting for like 6 months and then I was just now at this spot, I would have been struggling. So it just depends on how long you've been cutting. Will running actually lose the hanging fat around my body? No, because running in and of itself does not guarantee fat loss. It's a calorie deficit that does. Is gaining muscle or losing fat faster? Losing fat is faster than gaining muscle. But then again, it depends on the type of speed that you're going, I guess. Can it get rid of smile lines? Maybe. Like I said, very dependent on the person. Some people might have like fucking fat that just like sort of goes over their smile lines, and then when they lose the fat, like their skin ends up being like smoother. What I would say though is like, I don't see anything wrong with smile lines. Like, it just means you've lived like a nice life, like you've been smiling. So don't try to like think that you have to like be this perfect image, like this supermodel thing. I think that honestly, the flaws that we all have is what makes us all beautiful and unique, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, I don't like people who look perfect. It's like, it's more or less like we should embrace the things that are wrong with us, because in pursuit of perfection, we end up losing ourselves. What's the hardest thing? My dick. Okay, I don't even know if I can say this word, and I'm not going to say it, but like, is starving, I'm not going to say what he said, okay for cutting to get shredded, or is it bad? It's terrible. Don't do it. The ROI is terrible. Don't fucking do it. Just be disciplined and go into a calorie deficit. Is it true that during the cut you're bloated for most of it? Heard somebody say it. It depends on your diet. I think when the more fat that you lose, the more reactive your body gets to like different types of things, like sodium, for example, simply because like you just haven't had it for that long. So like when you're on a diet, and because the calories are restricted, you've been having less carbs than usual. The day that you decide to have like a lot of carbs, that's when it's gonna like really pop up on your face and everything like that. Are plateaus actually a thing or not? They're a thing, obviously, but there are ways to push past it. I don't think there's ever any like permanent plateau. All right, boys, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Funny enough, this is my third time trying to record this video, because the first time that I recorded this video, the file got corrupted. Or no, the audio got messed up. The second time the file got corrupted. The third time the file got corrupted again. So hopefully this video is like all good. The audio is all there. Everything's good. And yeah, I hope this video helps you guys. Now, obviously, if you guys want to join my coaching community, go ahead and check out the link in the description below. And I'll see you guys next time. Leave a comment. Tell me if you guys made it to the end. But I'll see you guys next time. All right. Peace.